Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West. Adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Today I'm going to tell you about Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is a Christian movable feast that falls on the Sunday before Easter. The feast commemorates Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, an event mentioned in each of the four canonical Gospels. Palm Sunday marks the first day of Holy Week, the last week of the Christian solemn season of Lent that precedes the arrival of Eastertide. In most liturgical churches, Palm Sunday is celebrated by the blessing and distribution of palm branches or the branches of other native trees representing the palm branches. The crowd scattered in front of Christ as he rode into Jerusalem. The difficulty of procuring palms and unfavorable climates led to their substitution with branches of native trees, including box, olive, willow, and yew. The Sunday was often named after these substitute trees, as in Yew Sunday, or by the general term Branch Sunday. Many churches of mainstream Christian denominations, including the Lutheran, Catholic, Methodist, Anglican, Moravian, and Reformed traditions, distribute palm branches to their congregations during their Palm Sunday liturgies. Christians take these palms, which are often blessed by clergy, to their homes, where they hang them alongside Christian art, especially crosses and crucifixes, or keep them in their Bibles or devotionals. In the accounts of the four canonical Gospels, Christ's triumphal entry into Jerusalem takes place a week before his resurrection. Only the Gospel of John shows a timeline of the event dated 6 days before the Passover. John 12:1. Before this, Jesus talked to two of his disciples, talking to himself. The ancient Greek word of Lord, written with a capital letter in the original text as a proper noun. The raising of Lazarus is mentioned only by the Gospel of John in the previous chapter. The Eastern Orthodox Church and the Eastern Catholic Churches, which follows the Byzantine rite, commemorate it on Lazarus Saturday following the text of the Gospel. In fact, the Jewish calendar dates begin at sundown of the night beforehand and conclude at nightfall. In Luke 19:41, as Jesus approaches Jerusalem, he looks at the city and weeps over it, an event known as Plebit Superbillum in Latin, foretelling his coming passion and the suffering that awaits the city in the events of the destruction of the Second Temple through the way in which Jesus entered into Jerusalem. He publicly declared himself as the Messiah, the Savior that God had promised to the Jewish people, and he was accepted at the time by the people in many lands in the ancient Near East. It was customary to cover in some way the path of someone thought worthy of the highest honor. The Hebrew Bible 2 Kings 9:13 reports that Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, was treated this way. Both synoptic Gospels and the Gospel of John report that people gave Jesus this form of honor. In the synoptics, the people are described as laying their garments and cut rushes on the street, whereas John specifies fronds of palm, Greek bionics. In Jewish tradition, the palm is one of the 4 species carried for Sukkot as prescribed for rejoicing at Leviticus 23:40. In the Greco-Roman culture of the Roman Empire, which strongly influenced Christian tradition, the palm branch was a symbol of triumph and victory. It became the most common attribute of the goddess Nike or Victoria. For contemporary Roman observes, the procession would have evoked the Roman triumph when the triumphator laid down his arms and wore the toga, the civilian garment of peace that might be ornamented with emblems of the palm. Although the epistles of Paul refer to Jesus as triumphing, the entry into Jerusalem may not have been regularly pictured as a triumphal procession. In this sense, before the 13th century in ancient Egyptian religion, the palm was carried in funeral processions and represented eternal life. The martyr's palm was later used as a symbol of Christian martyrs and their spiritual victory or triumph over death. In Revelation 7:9, the white-clad multitude stand before the throne and Lamb holding palm branches. Palm Sunday or the entry of the Lord into Jerusalem, as it may be called in Orthodox churches, is one of the 12 great feasts of the liturgical year. The day before Palm Sunday, Lazarus Saturday, believers often prepare palm fronds by knotting them into crosses in preparation for the procession on Sunday. The hangings and vestments in the church are changed to a festive color, most commonly green. It is customary in many churches for worshippers to receive fresh palm leaves on Palm Sunday in parts of the world where this has historically been impractical. Substitute traditions have arisen. The usual traditions of Palm Sunday states that in many churches, worshippers gather fresh palm leaves as they are blessed, and it is considered to be holly to have palm leaves in the house. This tradition of Palm Sunday to collect fresh palm leaves is carried on in different parts of the globe in different manners. The Palm Sunday traditions have slowly evolved over the years, and alternating Palm Sunday customs have cropped up when one discards the old palms. It should be remembered that it is a blessed religious object and therefore should be burnt or buried. Some prefer to bury it in their home garden while others burn it off. Belgium, in Hoegaarden, one of the last remaining Palm Sunday processions takes place every year. A fellowship of 12 apostles carries a wooden statue of Christ around the town while children go door to door offering the palms box for coins. In Bulgaria, Palm Sunday is known as Nista or Nistas or Flowers Day. People with flower-related names to celebrate this day as their name day. England, in the 15th through the 17th centuries in England, Palm Sunday was frequently marked by the burning of jack-o'-lantern figures. This was a straw effigy which would be stoned and abused on Ash Wednesday and kept in the parish for burning on Palm Sunday. The symbolism was believed to be a kind of revenge on Judas Iscariot, who had betrayed Christ. The effigy could also have represented the hated figure of winter, whose destruction prepares the way for spring. Ethiopia. In Orthodox Ethiopia, this holiday is referred to as Hosanna. Palm leaves will be blessed and distributed. They are used to create crucifixes, rings, and other ornaments. India, in most of the Catholic churches in India, the palms are blessed by the priest on Palm Sunday and then distributed among the people after the Holy Mass. There's a tradition of folding palm fronds into palm crosses, which are kept at the altar till the next Ash Wednesday. In Italy, palm leaves are used along with small olive branches, readily available in the Mediterranean climate. These are placed at house entrances, for instance, hanging above the door to last until the following year's Palm Sunday. For this reason, usually palm leaves are not used whole due to their size. Instead, leaf strips are braided into smaller shapes. Small olive branches are also often used to decorate traditional Easter cakes, along with other symbols of birth like eggs. Levant. In Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria, Palm Sunday in Arabic is perhaps the best attended liturgy in the Christian calendar among the Orthodox, Catholic, Latin, and Eastern Anglican churches, perhaps because it is notably a family occasion. On this day, children attend church with branches from olive and palm trees. Also, There will be carefully woven crosses and other symbols made from palm fronds and roses, and a procession at the beginning of the liturgy, during which at some point the priest will take an olive branch and splash holy water on the faithful in Syria. It is popular for children to dress up as Easter witches and go door to door in neighborhoods for coins and candy. Egypt. In Egypt, there was a tradition of people carrying the palms to funeral processions as it represented eternal life. The palm branch was also a symbol of spiritual triumph over death. Spain. In Spain, there is a tradition at the Palmero of Europe's largest palm grove, in which local people cover palm leaves from the sun to allow them to whiten, and then they tie and braid them into intricate shapes. Wales in England. In southern Wales and nearby portions of England, so the Dow's Flowering Sunday is a grave decoration tradition commonly observed on Palm Sunday, although historically Flowering Sunday grave decoration was also observed on other days as well. Today, the names Palm Sunday and Flowering Sunday are used interchangeably in those regions. In 1829, Thomas Wallace of Baldock, Monmouthshire, published a poem which contains the first known reference to the custom being practiced only on Palm Sunday. Most cemetery cleaning and decoration traditions may have begun as an Easter celebration before becoming more commonly associated with Palm Sunday. As early as 1786, cleaning and flower decorations were attested by William Matthews during a tour of South Wales. Here are some palm facts. There are around 2,600 species of palms. Some palms can reach heights of 70 feet or much more, depending on the species. Some palms can live for more than a century. That means the palm you plant might outlive you. In many historical cultures, because of their importance as food, palms were symbols of such ideas as victory, peace, and fertility. For inhabitants of cooler climates today, palms symbolize the tropics and vacations. Most palms are native to tropical and subtropical climates. Palms thrive in moist and hot climates, but can be found in a variety of different habitats. The diversity is highest in wet lowland forests, South America, the Caribbean, and areas of the South Pacific and Southern Asia, or regions of concentration. Colombia may have the highest number of palm species in one country. There are some palms that are also native to desert areas such as the Arabian Peninsula and parts of northwestern Mexico. Only about 130 palm species naturally grow entirely beyond the tropics, mostly in humid, low-and subtropical climates in highlands in southern Asia and along the rimlands of the Mediterranean Sea. The dwarf palm occurs in southern France, the Nica is a species of palm growing in New Zealand. The hardiest palm in the world is known as the needle palm and is able to handle temperatures below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Stable palmetto, also known as cabbage palm, palmetto cabbage, palmetto blue palmetto, Carolina palmetto, common palmetto, swamp cabbage, and sable palm is one of 15 species of palmetto palm. It is native to the southern United States as well as Cuba, the Turks and Caicos Islands, the Bahamas. The growing heart of the new fronds, also known as the terminal bud, gives the tree its cabbage name, since this is extracted as a food and tastes like other undifferentiated plant meristem tissue, such as the heart of a cabbage or artichoke. It is one of several palm species that are sometimes used to make heart of palm salad. Not all palm trees are trees, and not all plants called palms are truly palms. These evergreen plants can grow in the form of shrubs. Trees are long, woody vines called lianas. Plants like the yucca palm, torbay palm, sago palm, and traveler's palm are not part of the Raceae family. Palm trees have two different types of leaves, palmate and pinnate. Windio wax palm is the tallest species and can grow 160 to 200 feet high. It is the national tree and emblem of Colombia and is now a protected species, which means it can't be used for logging. The Crocodile palm has the largest seeds of any plant on earth. The seeds can be as large as 20 inches in diameter and as heavy as 66 pounds. Lots of staples come from palms. Coconuts are an obvious product of palms, but did you know that dates, betel nuts, and acai fruit all come from palms as well? Others, such as sago, are poisonous to humans and animals. Know what type of palm tree the fruit comes from before taking a bite. Palm oil, as its name indicates, also comes from the fruit of the oil palm. The sago palm is a dwarf tree that is not a palm, but a relative of conifers and mango trees. It looks amazingly palm-like and is a popular type of plant used for bonsai trees. However, it is poisonous and should not be accessible to pets and children. Trimming palm fronds is part of what keeps tree trimming companies busy throughout the year, but this can be dangerous or even fatal work. Deaths have occurred when tree cutters have been suffocated by fronds that have slid down onto the worker and mobilized them. When this occurs, it's almost impossible for a worker to remove the fronds because his or her body is pinned against the trunk with hundreds of pounds of pressure from the fronds. Everyone knows that you water a tree at its base. Palms are no different, but shooting that hose up to its leaves also is beneficial, helping to knock off the dust and to dislodge insects such as scale mites and scaly bugs like to hide out in the long stems of some palms. Washing also provides much needed humidity since most palms are grown in dry regions. Thanks for watching this Adventurous Kids episode. Bam!
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!